And welcome back, everybody. Here we are in George's beautiful kitchen. Hello. Oh, it looks like that plant is growing out of your head. That's perfect. Welcome, welcome. I've missed this apron. So good. I remember it fondly from beanball days. Here we have all of our ingredients as per the intro vid. So as ever, if you need to pause the video, go back to the intro video, get out everything you need. We do have everything in the right quantities, apart from our spices, which I think we're going to be measuring out with you, so don't worry about that. We've also got some exciting beers that we're going to crack open. Should we do that right away?
Let's
set the scene, set the mood.
We're filming on a Friday, so...
Absolutely, my preferred day of filming, because it feels like we can just relax that little bit more, even though I still have to work tonight. Which is why we're drinking alcohol-free beers. Cheers! These are Berlo beers. Shout out to Berlo.
Yeah, they are. So
Berlo Naked. Alcohol-frei.
It's a good one. It's an IPA, which is quite fitting.
Very fitting, very topical.
Pale ale.
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah, IPA is very much recommended for this dish, or
really?
Beers in general, I think. Beer and curry, that's what you want. So hopefully you are with us in terms of drink in hand and ingredients out, and we're going to get started. I need to tell you what to do. You're just going to do it. Just make it. I just stand here and watch you fumble your way through it.
There's a concept though.
We are going to start with a few preparatory things. First of all, the cauliflower. We're going to chop that into florets first because we are going to soak it. This is in response to an outcry from a friend of mine when I did not wash my cauliflower in the previous dish I did with cauliflower. Apparently that's a bit gross and lots of things can be hiding in there, or pesticides. So you're going to want to get your cauliflower and a chopping board and a nice sharp knife. And we are also going to want, as Georgia has anticipated, a nice big bowl. Because we're going to be popping that in there and kind of leaving it to soak for a little bit. So size-wise with the florets, we're going for quite small. We want kind of 3 centimetre florets.
What does that mean?
That's about like the tip of a thumb, I would say.
The tip of a thumb.
I suppose it depends how big your thumb is.
So it's in like the height of the floret?
Yeah, kind of the height of the... But basically just small florets is kind of what you're going for.
So something like this and then tear it apart?
I would split that, yeah. You could even just do that in half maybe, would probably be enough. But honestly, you don't have to be super picky about it. But yeah, I would say that is about perfect.
Okay.
Because ultimately we want ones that are still going to be slightly larger than our potato cubes. Because they're going to be cooking around the same time, so the potato wants to be smaller than the cauliflower, because obviously they don't have the same cooking times otherwise.
Shape spoiler there.
Oh, I know, sorry.
I didn't know we were making a cube.
Well, now you do. Now you can be prepping ahead mentally, being like, right, what does a cube look like? What do I have to do to achieve that? I could try and get you to cut these into cubes. That would be really challenging.
Okay.
You're doing a beautiful job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know why cauliflower was never on my veg to wash list.
Veg to wash.
Don't we all have a veg to wash list? I think because it seems such a pain to wash, largely.
What else do you not wash that you should?
Broccoli. All the kind of
You don't need
tree-like
to limit
ones.
it to vegetables.
No. My
Broccoli.
feet are just too far away from my hands, so that's not happening. Yeah, the fluffy tree-like vegetables, I always just forget to wash them. Which, as Lewis quite rightly pointed out, they're the problematic ones, really. I mean...
all those nooks and crannies.
All those nooks and crannies. I do have many vivid memories of discovering boiled caterpillars. Yeah. Do you not, from broccoli?
I think from cauliflower I've encountered worms in them, but usually in time. Usually from the bio store, actually.
Okay. Yeah, see, when they're bio, it's like, I don't really mind too much about insects. These are going to get fried quite a lot. I don't think any insect's going to survive that. Beautiful, yes. So what's also good is a bowl for kitchen scraps.
Yes.
This bowl. Exactly this bowl. Nothing else will do.
I'll lend it to you.
Thank you. So our florets are looking just perfect. And now we want to submerge them in water. Cold water's fine. Or whatever you've got coming out the pack, quite frankly, is also fine.
Just please submerge them.
And we're going to add a little bit of salt to that water. Don't ask me why, it's just what I've been told to do. No, I think it's kind of the way that salt draws things out. I think that also works for like any bugs or pesticides hiding in our cauliflower.
Like this much salt?
Yeah, I would put about a teaspoon in, I would say. Nice flaky salt.
Yeah, and wet.
Pre-wetted salt.
Get yourself
We're
a
not
salt
gonna.
that does both.
I'm not going to ask why your salt is wet, but I'm glad that we have an occasion to use it.
Me too.
Beautiful. And then you might want, if you've got a bowl where you can fit a little plate in it, just so it pushes the cauliflower right down into the water, so that it's submerging more than floating. That would probably be perfect. Just like that.
That's also
perfect. Ideal. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, and we're just going to leave that while we drink our beer. While we move on to the chapati dough, because that is something that we are going to want to leave to rest for a little while. So that is a good thing to make now. So for that, we have our 2 cups of whole wheat flour. We're going to want to get a large mixing bowl. Have I just made you use your...
Nope.
Oh, very good.
That's my small mixing bowl.
We have a larger one. Perfect. So a large mixing bowl. If you don't have one that big, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. One that size would also be okay. It just needs to be big enough for us to knead inside. So we can chuck the flour into there, straight in. Beautiful. And then we're going to want to add a little bit of salt.
I'm going to use my dry salt.
You can use your wet or dry salt. We're going to put a teaspoon in if you want to estimate that. I'd say a little bit more. Yeah.
7 twists.
7 twists or a teaspoon if you are picking it out, you know what I mean. And then you can just give that a quick mix with your fingertips just to make sure the salt is mixed through. And then we are going to want to get a cup of water. Do you have an actual US measuring cup, or?
I don't, but I just recently noticed that I do have something that mentions cups on them.
Ah, very good.
So this is actually the wee bowl for the stand mixer.
Oh yes, I remember the stand mixer.
So I find this for fluids. Like, we have a measuring jug. I've got my blender as well, but all of the measurements are like liters and milliliters.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But this one randomly has cups.
Hey, that's handy.
Well, how many cups?
So 1 cup of water. We might not need all of it, so also don't worry if you don't have anything that measures it. We're going to be adding the water really gradually. So as long as you don't just slosh it all in, we'll be fine, because it's really just the texture that we're aiming for. And I'll show you
because it's cups on one side and then it tells you what else it is.
Well, 1 cup is 250 mils. I do know that.
That looks right.
There you go. So yeah, but we are going to be adding this really gradually, and we might not need all of it. Usually I find about 3/4 of a cup is what we need. But basically, if you want to use one hand to be slowly pouring the water in, and your other hand to just be roughly mixing it as it hits the flour, you can start now. That's it. just bringing it together with every little addition of water. And we'll be aiming for about 3/4 of that cup of water. But you'll be able to tell once it starts coming together and there are no extra dry bits, that's when we're at a good place. So I'd say definitely a little bit more still.
I think I'm going to need it all.
Yeah, we may well do. I mean, it really is different every time. Even with the same flour, I find sometimes it's quite a
It's very much
sensitive thing.
not coming off my hands.
I would say that's looking at a place where you could put the water down and sort of
Really
get both
get
hands
in there.
involved. And we're sort of working towards bringing it together into a nice workable ball of dough. And you're going for a texture that is not overly sticky, but has a little bit of stick to it.
Definitely has a bit of stick.
Bit of stick is good. I would say at this point, a bit of stick is better than being a little bit too dry. So if you're feeling like yours at home is a little dry already, I would add a touch more water. I think that is looking really good.
Are there any, so I've been making a lot of pancakes recently, and the recipes that I've been looking at, they say explicitly quite a lot, don't overwork the dough. Is that something that's possible with chapatis?
Not really. We are now going to start working this dough a lot.
Okay then.
I'm getting you to put some real elbow grease in for this dish. So yeah, once you've got a ball like that has a slight stick to it, but can come together nicely, we're going to knead it in the bowl. Is this a good height and like?
Yeah.
Yep. So then it's just a matter of pushing it with the heel or the knuckles of your hand, bringing it back over itself, and then kind of doing the same again. You can also sort of be turning it around in between so that you're coming at it from a different angle. But that action of sort of spreading out and pulling back in is what we want to do. And we want to do this for quite a little while.
For 2 hours.
Yeah. So this is probably the most work I've asked anyone to do so far.
Thanks so
How
much.
do you feel about that? I just thought you were up to it, you know.
I do appreciate your faith in me.
All this yoga,
Yeah, totally.
you know, this is what,
If you'd asked me
This
to
is why
do
we
this
do
a
it.
year ago, I
Ugh.
think I would have failed.
been a disaster. Yeah, so chapati and roti.
What's the difference?
What is the difference? This was also my question. And ultimately, depending on which sauce you are using, some places say there is no difference. It's purely different sort of regional words for the same thing. Other sources say that a chapati is only ever with entirely whole wheat flour, whereas a roti is often a mixture with all-purpose flour as well, which is what Seb did with his roti. So
Okay.
I am enjoying that. I like the idea that there is a little bit of a difference. But ultimately, it's very much the same vibe. We're going for a, very simple flat bread with those nice little brown spots on it. You know what I mean? Looks
yum.
a bit like the moon. That's what we're going
Or
for.
like, what are those water crackers? Did you ever have
Oh
those
yeah,
cars?
water biscuits.
Water
What are they called?
biscuits.
Water biscuits.
I think so, something
What a
like that.
strange name for them. They were neither biscuits nor water.
Were they biscuits for water? What was the deal
I
with?
have no idea. They were just very thin crackers, weren't they?
They were
I
good.
think. So yeah, are you much of a bread maker? Do you
I don't
bake
think
a loaf?
I don't think I've ever made bread.
Mm.
Wouter has been through several bread making phases, which I enjoyed.
All of Wouter's phases they reap a lot of rewards, don't they?
They really do.
We were just enjoying some homemade kombucha. How do you say it? I'm not really sure.
I would say kombucha.
Of many different flavors even. I mean, he's got to that stage with it now.
Yeah, so not really bread. I got into, but I made like a few different kind of flatbreads and naans and things last year.
Mm-hmm.
This year I'm more about the pancakes.
Yes, you've been on quite a foray into pancake land.
Yes.
Including the time to cook chickpea pancakes, right?
Yeah,
you made
super
those.
good. Highly recommend. 2 videos ago, check it out.
Very, very good.
With Taylor, the
you did make
barefoot cook.
Yeah. Was I right that there's a barefoot contest? There is like a cooking show.
Yeah.
So Barefoot con Taylor. I should have made more of a thing of that because that's actually really funny.
You should get him to make something, from a Spanish-speaking country next time.
Yeah.
Con Taylor.
Next time might be his very, very last one. We received the sad news recently that we got to kill him off. We've got to come up with some kind of plot twist that means he is no more. No, Lindsay and Taylor are moving away from us.
Very far away.
Very far away, and it's very sad. We might have to have some kind of like epic time to cook. I might get him to make like an all-day feast.
Get him to make everything, all of the previous recipes.
Oh, that would be great. But yeah, so you've been making a lot of pancakes.
Yes.
You also made some good vegan tweaks to the last one, I feel. So you used tofu instead of the paneer, didn't you?
Yeah.
How did that work out, would you say?
Really well, actually.
Yeah.
So I would have used just kind of plain or nature tofu, but I had some smoked tofu left over in the fridge that I needed to use up, and I think it worked really well.
Nice. I should definitely try that. Although I am a bit of a paneer addict.
Yeah. No, I don't know if there's any real substitute for paneer, and if you're into the cheese, definitely.
Do you have any cheese cheat days anymore?
Occasionally, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe once or twice a week. Once.
It's about how much I eat cheese as well. That's a total lie. Every day.
No, once or twice a month.
Okay. And what would be your go-to, like, I am gagging for some cheese?
I'm gagging
This is what I'm going to eat.
It's sometimes just on a pizza. So it depends where you're getting it from. Zola. Yes. I really like their veggie pizza, their vegan pizza. Just without cheese is really good.
Nice.
But then there's other places that, like, I think the other ingredients on their own are not as good, and you just want the cheese and the mozzarella.
Oh yeah, the stringy mozzarella.
But there's really great pizza place in Neukölln that is purely vegan, and they do, pizzas without cheese, but they also do pizzas with vegan cheese.
Nice.
And they're really good, I think.
Yeah, the vegan cheese universe is something I'm yet to really delve into.
The vegan cream cheese I'm enjoying. There's one I found recently in the LPG supermarkets, LPG, which you can probably get in all the bio stores. But it's, I don't know what it's called, but it's got a unicorn on the label.
Oh, I see. They've milked a unicorn.
They have milked a unicorn. Unicorn's vegan. No, which appeals to me as a Scot. The unicorn is our national animal.
How ridiculous and wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that sums up the country.
Scottish people.
Yeah. But it's really nice. It's made from cashews.
Yeah, I feel that's the way for most vegan cheeses, is it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I think there's some with almonds and everything, but the ones I like, and it's quite mild. But yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I think we've been going for almost 10 minutes, just checking in with the texture we've got now. Certainly nice and pliable, nice and soft. It's looking kind of pillowy, which is good. I think we can go for a couple more minutes. And what we're really aiming for, like I'm doing anything. We're aiming for a texture where when you press it with your finger, it leaves an indentation, but that springs back a little bit.
It's a slow
spring. So I really think 2 more minutes, we're at the 10-minute mark, and then I think that's fine.
Okay.
Like I say, I think, the result of these breads is very dependent on the day, it seems, when I make them. And I don't know how much that's down to the kneading process or the rolling out process or the cooking process. It could be anything really, but sometimes they come out quite crispy, and that apparently is when the dough is a bit too hard. So probably when I haven't kneaded it enough.
You just wanted it.
I just wanted it, and I didn't really care. And but now I'm not the one putting in the elbow grease, so I can make you go for as long as we should.
I feel like I should also use the other hand for, I don't know, I remember when I was a waitress as a teenager and we did silver service.
Ooh.
And so you would have the full giant steaming metal tray of vegetables, often new potatoes actually. We once had to silver serve gravy, which was horrendous.
That's just not possible, is it?
No, it's not fun. But I can't remember, I would carry everything on my right arm, and then because we were serving, I would use my left hand and left-handed. And my right arm did get a little bit bigger.
Really?
Yeah, than my left.
It's been wasting away all these years.
Yeah, so I'm making up for it now.
I mean, it's holding that bowl real well, at least.
You're doing good.
All right, what do you reckon? That's been 10 minutes now.
It's not springing back.
Well, that's
Maybe
a spring.
I'm doing too much.
That's definitely a spring. Yes, I like that. That looks pillowy good. Lovely. So we can kind of just form that into a nice little ball. We don't need to press it together too hard, but just kind of, like that. And then we can pop it back in the bowl. You can oil it if you want, but I would say there's no need. Some places say that you should, some say that it doesn't matter. But what we do want to do is cover it either with some plastic wrap, some cling film, if you have it. Do you have that? Then let's use that. Or if at home you don't have any cling film, a damp cloth also would work. But we are taking the easy option.
I know.
Or the not easy option. I sliced my finger on a cling film box the other day.
Oh, no.
It doesn't come with any kind of warning, but it can be quite sharp.
This is the thing.
How are
so
you going to
we
rip
lost
that?
the box. I know.
That went better than I thought it was going to, actually.
It's not my first time. It's my second time.
Perfect. And let's put that away from the window, I would say.
Away from the window. So what is this doing, the plastic that's on there?
It is trapping in heat, mostly. Keeping the moisture that's being released inside the bowl. Don't ask me why that's important. That is just what bread likes. Likes to be moist and warm. And this is really, like, obviously there's no yeast in there. This isn't for the yeast to activate or anything. This is just for the gluten to relax. And then you just get a better, softer, fluffier result, hopefully. Nice. That wants to sit for at least 20 minutes if you're ever making this again and you're in a bit more of a rush. But for us today, it's probably going to sit for longer because we're going to do everything else first and then cook them right at the end. So wash your little floury hands.
Or your big floury hands.
Or your big floury hands, you know. Ours happen to be quite petite. I love how I just like take on the cook's persona. Like our hands, like I've got nothing to do with this. This is all you. Alrighty, then what I think we're going to do at this point, just so that we give our cauliflower plenty of time to drain, is to drain it now and leave it sitting in a colander while we prep the rest of the curry veg, because we want to get it as dry as possible before we start cooking with it. And it really only needs 10 minutes to clean, and it has certainly had that. So drain your florets. Pretty handy actually having that plate on it, isn't it?
Yeah, it has worked very well.
But now you
I
can't
get it out.
We spoke too soon.
Oh. There's actually still quite a lot of water in there.
It did such a good job of being a lid. Oh wow, yeah. And then maybe you can just leave that sitting in the bowl. Cool. They can just drain for the time being, and we're going to move on to prepping the other veg. So mostly that is our potatoes. Let's start with those. Ours were new and nice and earthy. If you have nice new, oh look at the heart potato, it's adorable. If you have earthy new ones, you're going to want to wash those first. We did do that behind the scenes, I'm very sorry. And yeah, we are going for cubes, as I told you earlier. Smaller cubes than our cauliflower, so it might be helpful to have one of the florets out
for reference.
The recipe says you're going for 2 centimetre cubes. Just about my thumbnail.
Okay.
So good luck.
And we don't need to peel
no
them.
tips as to how best to do this. No peeling necessary.
Because the skin is where the goodness is.
Skin is where the goodness is, and I find with
Do you think
these
this
lovely new
or
potatoes,
half of
that I would, yeah. Definitely, that's perfect, I would say. You can put it next to the cauliflower for reference.
Look at that.
Look at that. Happy little friends. Yeah, I think there's a lot of flavour in new potato skin as well. So yeah, I would usually opt to keep it on. It's a very nice IPA.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it's not alcohol free, but it's alcohol very low, less than 0.5%. But it's nice. It's very refreshing, I find.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it has all of the flavour of an alcohol one.
And from a local brewery.
Nonetheless. Are they still open? Can you do takeaway from Berlo at the moment? Do you know?
Probably.
Yes, it's not really our part of town, is it? Probably not.
Seb is the person to ask.
Yes,
probably.
that's true.
But this one I got from the Getränkemarkt.
Ah, nice.
Getränke Hoffmann.
I do like Getränke Hoffmann.
Stocks the Berlo.
We should also mention these potatoes because they are locally sourced, aren't they?
Yeah, so these are from there's a stand at the Neuköllner Wochenmarkt. So it's the one that everybody calls the Turkish market. It's
one along
every
the canal, right?
Tuesday and Friday on the Maybach Ufer in Kreuzberg. And there's this one stand at the, which end is it? Like the less busy end of the street, basically. That does only potatoes. Nice. And they usually have 10 different kinds.
There's a little bit of
water in there.
I'm just gonna...
I'll stick it in this bowl. There's so many bowls.
Perfect.
Yeah, they usually have a dozen different varieties. I saw today they have sweet potatoes as well. And the really lovely thing that they do is whenever you buy potatoes from them, they always give you a tiny free little onion.
They chuck in an onion. How cute is that?
Yeah, that's really nice.
It looks like they're just trying to trick you, but it is in fact a gift.
This isn't a potato.
You go to roast your potato and yeah, what a shock. Peas.
Peas.
We're not doing anything with them. That was just freaking you out.
Make them cubes, Georgia.
Yeah. Quarter each pea, please. We could actually put those to the side to make a little more room here, I would say, because they're not going to be going in until the very end. So they're fine there. As long as you have enough space, that's the main thing. Let's do the onion next, I would say. One medium white onion, which is behind you there. Now this wants roughly chopping, and that really means like, it doesn't matter. Hack it up, the bits can be quite chunky.
I'm so glad, because that's how I do onions.
Yeah, oh good. I actually found it really hard to roughly chop because I'm so used to being quite anal about dicing really small that I can't deal with the freedom of like just roughly chop it up. I have brought you, oh actually, these are much better. Usually it takes me 5 minutes to get the skin off these onions.
Oh really?
It's really annoying. They're so papery and it really flakes off. Courtesy of gorillas, can't complain.
So for a rough chop, I would just go at an angle if you struggle with it.
Oh, okay.
So
nice.
just turn the onion.
Right. Ooh.
Slice your finger. That's one of the steps. That's all part of it. If you're not bleeding, it wasn't rough enough.
Good. Beautiful. Yeah, Jules did have a minor mishap.
Oh no.
But doing what I do and always feel a total fool about, so I'm really pleased it happens to other people.
Whatever.
Where there was some, I guess we'd been finely dicing an onion, so there was onion left on the knife, and she wiped it off the knife and had just sharpened her knife.
No.
And sliced her finger, which I have done before. But it wasn't deep or anything. She was fine. She carried on regardless.
I mean, I haven't heard from her since.
Beautiful. That was very well done.
Thank you so much.
Now let's do the... Well, let's think about this actually.
We're digging a well?
Let's do the well now. I think it's probably best. I think we should put the pan on to heat the oil while we prep the last couple of bits, because they're not going to take too long and the oil is going to take a little while to heat up. So you want to get your big frying pan or your wok, whatever you are using, and we want to put it on a medium-high heat. For us, we're going 7 out of 9. This is quite a powerful induction hob, I would say.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I would, for general cooking, if I'm making a sauce or something like that, most things I'll cook on a 6 on this one.
So we want to kind of go like one higher than your general cooking heat, I would say.
Yeah.
And into that we are going to put, so this is where I explained in the intro video, they suggest using 6 tablespoons.
Oh, yeah.
Is a lot of oil. I'm gonna see if we can get away with 4. If after we have fried the cauliflower and the potato we feel we're a bit low on oil, we can always add more at that juncture, but I feel like 4 should be okay, so let's give that a go. So yeah, you're going to want, as we said, either peanut oil we're using or sunflower oil would work as well. I did it with canola rapeseed oil once and I didn't like it quite as much. I don't know why. Would you like me to pass you the other one?
Please.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is quite a hefty tablespoon, I think.
That looks about right though. I would like to know if that tablespoon, so like what we call a tablespoon in the UK, is the exact same as the American tablespoon measurement. I do not know that.
Well, a tablespoon is 15 mils. Yeah.
Okay. I think that looks about...
Ooh, it smells like peanuts.
Does it?
Yeah.
It's not reaching me.
It will.
This is very carefully done. I'm very impressed.
So we're doing
4.
4 from the very beginning.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean 6 is you're almost deep frying, really, I find at that point, which is what they would do in the restaurant apparently, but...
So that's 4.
Perfect, I think that looks good. We've basically completely covered the base and it's got a little bit of depth to it, right? I think that's what we're going for.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So we want that to get to heat up to the heat that we've put the pan on, basically. You don't want to go in too early with the veg when you're frying with this much oil, because if it's not hot enough, your veg will actually absorb a lot more of the oil. Whereas if it's at the right heat, then it should just cook it, crisp it, give it a nice flavour, but not take too much in. What we do want to get prepped though is a plate to put next to the pan, because we're going to be frying the cauliflower and potatoes kind of in batches and removing it to a plate as we go. I don't find any need to line that plate with kitchen towel. I don't find that they actually release that much oil, but feel free to do so if you would rather. So we can set that up next to it. Now while that's heating,
You can't smell the peanut?
oh yeah, I can. Oh, that's fun. Don't think I noticed that before, and I've cooked with quite a lot of people that have used peanut oil. Let's prep the onion, the garlic and ginger while that oil is heating up. So we want 3 large cloves of garlic. Obviously, if your hob is gas, you might not want to.
This is looking pretty.
It's looking pretty good already?
Yeah.
Shall we hold off then? It was my assumption that an electric hob was going to take longer, but maybe that assumption is incorrect.
Yeah, it's induction rather than just like standard electric. Like you can see it shimmering. No?
Okay.
It's moving a little bit.
Well, maybe let's turn that off then.
Turn it off?
Yeah, because I think we do want to have everything ready before we start cooking, because
Sure.
when we're cooking, the heats are high, we want to keep things moving around the pan quite a lot, and I don't want any stress from having to prep other things. So if you have a long, slow electric hob, you will want to get yours heating now. Otherwise, just the oil in the pan is enough. So 3 large cloves of garlic. Oh, they are nice fat ones. They're perfect. We want to crush them.
Crush them.
Crush them.
Do you want to peel then crush?
Definitely want to peel then crush. Yeah. Is it possible to crush without peeling first? I now want to see you try. We are going to be mincing the ginger as well and kind of mixing the two together into a sort of paste. So if you don't have a crusher and you use the grater technique, I tend to like grating both at the same time.
Oh.
Because then you don't miss out on any of the flavour that gets stuck to the grater.
If anyone has a hot tip on how to like get rid of all of your papery bits as you go, I would love to hear it personally.
Yeah.
Because I feel that I always bring paper
Me too.
into my food.
Do you know what I've just realised we should use? You know those tiny little handheld vacuums that you get from Rossmann?
No.
Oh, I have one. I love it. It's so good for dust. Berlin is one of the dustiest places in the world.
Oh, like what were they called? Dust devils?
Yes, exactly.
Dust busters?
Dust busters or something. But yeah, it's just a electrical charged little handheld Hoover. I might just start using that. Why not? Kitchen Hoover.
You could have brought it with you.
I could have brought it with me. Well, you've only just given me the idea. It's a wonderful idea. Okay, we are crushing in our actual crusher. And we can just make a little pile of it on the chopping board.
Oh, it's a juicy one.
That's what we want. Beautiful. Oh yeah.
You can hear it.
You can. Squelchy.
Oh, I don't know how to do that yet.
Oh, garlic, ginger, it's just the best combination known to cooking. That was a tough one. Wow. It beat you. Oh wow. Has it got like a mineral core or something? Wow,
Okay.
you would have worked for this meal by the end.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then we want to get the ginger.
Mm-hmm.
And do you use the teaspoon technique to
No.
peel your ginger? Would you care to try it?
I would love to try it. I've never heard of this in my life.
All over it since Spencer showed me finally how to do it properly. So if you have a really woody end, like we do on that piece actually, you will want to cut that off. The teaspoon will not suffice with that bit. But the rest of it, you should just be able to take the teaspoon and kind of use it as if you're using a grater. So you're kind of drawing down against the grain. I tend to do it towards myself like that.
I'm super skeptical. Oh my goodness.
Right? That's what I thought. And then I was like, wow, it's so easy.
This is way better than the grater because
So
you lose
good.
so much of it.
Exactly, and all the knobbly bits, like you can get around the knobbly bits so much easier with a spoon.
Wow.
Yeah, that kind of changed my cooking life a little bit.
This is like a properly changed the game.
I couldn't have planned for a better reaction than I'm skeptical. Whoa!
Because this also, I didn't know that we were going to be trying this today.
No,
so.
well, I like to keep some tricks up my. Where do you keep tricks?
I don't know where you keep yours.
Under my hat?
Sure. Up your sleeve?
Not my sleeve. Beautiful. I would say that if you have an older piece of garlic, it doesn't work so
Ginger?
well. Ginger. God, that was also from Spencer. It's rubbed off. Could not tell the difference between ginger and garlic. Yeah, it works better the fresher your ginger is. I do find.
This is pretty fresh also. This
Yes,
is also from
the market.
Wochenmarkt.
I do wish I lived closer to that market. Beautiful. So obviously we don't need to be really picky about it.
Well, I've started, so
I'll finish. And then we're going to be, I would suggest grating this. Don't know if you have a way you prefer to mince your ginger. Jesus.
Ginger cheese.
Jesus. My idea of heaven.
Okay, so I've still got a couple of bits of the skin on there. But
I
that's
think
okay.
that's fine. I think that's totally fine.
It looks kind of like a big tooth or a wizard's hat. Not a wizard's hat, like a gnome's hat.
Oh yes, it does.
You know, or a big tooth.
Well, I really hope yours at home also, or a hand in a
It's
mitten.
like clouds. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna mince it.
Mince it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I would always use a grater for that when we want it really pulpy and pasty.
Would you use like the small holes? Or
Yeah, basically what you would use to zest, if you know what I mean. Exactly that. And you can do it directly onto your garlic. They're going to be going together anyway. Is that coming through all right?
In tiny, tiny bits. This is going to take a while.
Try it with the larger side.
The larger side? Oh, the larger side of the ginger.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to do my fingers. A little bit of skin is good, right?
Absolutely.
Is it
Bit of
vegan?
protein. With those ones, I do also usually like rest the end of the grater on the other way round. So you're like doing it away from you.
What?
Like that, and then you go like over the top.
Oh.
And then I break your kitchen equipment. It might be a bit flimsy for that.
I'm going to use a different grater.
Who knew this was going to be the part that tripped us up?
Can't believe I've been foiled.
The garlic clove almost got you, but now the ginger has well and truly got you. Yeah.
Classic.
Box grater, that's better. I'd love if you picked up a potato instead of the ginger.
This one? This one?
Yes.
This one.
That one, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's immediately better.
Yeah. You will find with ginger, because it's got these strings in it, there are sides and directions that are easier to grate ginger depending on where the grain is, if that makes any sense. So
It's so slippery.
So what?
Slippery. Where is it going to end up next? It's going to go in the peas.
On the peas.
In the peas.
It's getting there. There will definitely be a little bit of skin in here, I think.
Or a bit of nail.
Yes, I usually add a bit of nail, which is quite vile actually. Now I think about it.
So this is not a good side. This is interesting. I never thought about the different sides being better. This is a good side.
Yes, you can kind of tell. It's like if you're going with the fibrous lines, then it's easier. You will still be left with a clump of fibrous bits. It is also why I tend to choose a bit of ginger that is slightly bigger than I think I'll need, because when I get to this point, I tend to just throw that bit away.
But I'm going to keep going until I'm bleeding.
Nothing if not dedicated. Ooh.
I know the limit. I know.
I think we have to admit that that's as far as we're going to go. Beautiful. And then you want to get your hand up in there, scrape it all out. That little pile is going to smell incredible when it hits the pan later. Wonderful.
There's a little cheeky bit there.
Cheeky wee bit.
Okay.
Perfect. So that's basically all of the proper prep. We can definitely put our pan back on now. Very nice. And what we want to do, just again to kind of minimize any stress, is get everything set up that's going to be going in. So as I said, we want a plate for putting the fried goods on, because they're kind of going to go to the side before they get added back in later. So we've got that. We want plastic spatulas for moving the food around in the pan, preferably something slotted, exactly, because when we are frying the cauliflower and the potatoes, you want to leave as much of the oil in the pan as possible when lifting them out, so something slotted is perfect for that.
Do I need these again?
I don't think you... Oh wait, we're just going to quickly chop the chilies that we're going to add at the end, so the bird's eye chilies. The recipe says just to chop them in half.
Lengthways?
Sure. No, I think across is how I've seen it done.
So
again,
cut the top bit off.
Cut the top bit off and then cut it in half, I would.
Alright.
This is how I've seen it done with the green ones. The red might be a little bit different. I reckon 2 is actually probably fine, and what the recipe calls for. I think I just brought 3 because it looked nicer.
So you would go this way?
I would go that way, yeah. They're meant to be chunky.
I would go the other way.
I assume that we make sure we don't bite down on those later in the curry. Perfect. So now I don't think you need the knife for a while. We're going to be chopping the coriander later, but for a while that can go to the side. We also want to bring into play the 2 big dried chilies. They're actually going to be going in the oil first, so they can be popped right next to the pan. And we want to get our spices out so that we're not scrambling for them when it comes time to add. So the cumin seeds.
Where are they?
The ground coriander. Where are the cumin seeds? That's a very good question.
I have some here.
Let's use those and I will replenish. Perfect. So the turmeric, the coriander, the cumin seeds, and the garam masala.
Garam masala. Where did I put you?
There. I like playing find the spices on your shelf. And then we'll make sure we've got a teaspoon out, or measuring spoons if you have them, so that they are to hand. Perfect. Okay, I think we're almost set up and ready to go. The only other thing we need to do now is make sure that our cauliflower florets, which have been draining, are nice and dry, because when they hit hot oil, if they are not dry, there's going to be a lot of spluttering. There might be some spluttering anyway, we will warn you about this, but for now I would get some kitchen towel. Probably only need sort of a sheet or two. And give them a good dabbing off, whether you want to do that all together or pick them up in handfuls and dry each one. We don't want to crumble them up too much, so just be a little bit wary of that, but we don't want water on them.
What if you don't have kitchen towel?
You're screwed. No, it's something that I will mention in the equipment list, but if not, if you have a salad spinner, you could use that. That's actually even more of a unlikely piece of equipment for you to have. Sometimes I use toilet paper if it really gets to that. Okay, I think we should check on our oil.
Yeah.
It is starting to smoke.
Oh, good.
So I would test it by taking a little bit of the cauliflower and just popping that in and seeing what happens. If it sizzles straight away, woo, then it's good to go. All right, so we'll take that out just now. That's not the first thing that's going in. That's kind of our tester. Put that to one side, maybe on the plate. That will be going in with the rest of the cauliflower later. First of all, we are going to put in the 2 dried chilies. Now they are going to need only a few seconds in there, but pop them in and then mix them around with your plastic spatula so that they get coated, and you'll see that they turn dark. Ooh, they go black, and that should happen quite quickly, which it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See that? Beautiful. And they can come out immediately. So we'll use our slotted spoon to pop them on the plate. Again, leave as much oil as you can behind when you're transferring. So give it a little sort of wiggle. Now the frying, we are going to start with the cauliflower. Be careful. This will spit a little. So do stand back. We're also going to do it in batches, so kind of a handful at a time. That kind of helps for us to keep things under control. I think that looks perfect. Yeah, it's spitting. It's spitting. So we want to move them around while still trying to protect ourselves.
If you have oven gloves,
if you have oven gloves, that might be a good idea. We could turn it down to 6. But they're not going to be staying in there too long.
Put my hand, wrap my hand.
Yeah. Oh God, I've made a dangerous dish. And this is the water in the oil, and I just have no better idea of how to stop this happening. It's intense. We could try something for the next batch. So you just want them to start going brown at the edge, as you can see that one at the back is.
Yeah.
And then we can take this batch out already, I would say. So bringing it all to one side and then carefully using lovely. You might need to do half and half, but yeah, try and drip most of the oil out as you move them. That's fine. And then onto the plate they can go. So something we can try, other than like really making sure they're nice and dry, is putting a little bit of salt, your dry salt, into the oil. I have heard that this helps to absorb moisture caused by the food and to reduce spitting. So let's see if that works. Yes, that's fine. That would be fine, I think. All right,
Round two.
round two, next batch.
You won't see my face for the rest of the video because I'm now horribly disfigured.
Oh no. Look, it all adds to the excitement. We can chuck a few more in there, I'd say. That feels a little bit better.
It does feel better, definitely.
And I can't tell if that's because it's cooled down or if the salt helps. But give the salt a try, why not? Yeah, that's much better. This is the kind of dish where your kitchen needs a good scrub afterwards, which I shall be doing.
And hopefully you have closed your kitchen door if you have one also.
Yes, and hopefully if you have a fire alarm in your kitchen, like Lindsay and Taylor do.
Oh yeah.
That's not going too crazy at this point.
We're starting to brown a little bit.
Nice, I would say 30 more seconds or so, and those will be good. I do love how this is like the secret to restaurant cooking though.
Right.
Oil and probably a lot of sugar and salt. It's just like eating out all the time. It's not very good for you, even if you're eating healthy things. All right, I would say they are looking good. You really do look like I've injured you already with that towel around.
It's purely a precautionary measure.
Very well done. Oh, that is a very handy shovel type tool.
Oh no.
And then all your good work, sugaring the oil off. Yeah, very good. All right, I would say this is probably the last batch. We've done that in 3 batches. I would toss that all in. No. Yeah, I think it's fine. You just don't want to overcrowd the pan. I think that's perfect. Georgia was smart enough to wear a polo neck to protect herself.
And shoes.
And shoes. Yeah, Taylor, no barefoot cooking this time.
Oh man, definitely not. Also, the oil has spit onto the floor, so be careful that you don't slip.
This is definitely the danger cooking edition. 30 plus is going to be the age limit for cooking this dish.
Maybe you can get one of those shields.
Yeah, a splatter shield.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's only restaurants that do it this way, maybe. Too dangerous for home cooks.
I know.
Yeah, I think at least temperature-wise, that's definitely the right temp we've got it on now. 7 was maybe a bit extreme.
Ambitious.
Maybe ambitious.
That's part of it. Dip your...
Try not to soak up any oil, so we dip a towel in it.
Dip your towel in it.
Tea towel end up
arm
causing
is
more
so
injuries.
tired.
Oh, no. Maybe we are going to have to swap arms.
Try to use a different hand for the kneading and this.
That's true. I'm really putting you to work. They're looking lovely. It's all going to be worth it, I promise.
I'm excited. It smells good. We've got great ingredients. Sounds delicious.
So those are just starting to get golden at the edge. So I reckon about 10 more seconds and they are also good to come out. Check back at my notes to make sure I know what steps are coming up. Beautiful.
Don't know if you can hear the sirens if it being picked up, but they're not coming here.
Yeah.
But it is fortunate that we live close to a fire station.
I feel like regardless, it's a constant backing tune in Berlin anyway. Look at that oil splatter. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Pretty significant.
All right. Get all your cauliflower bits out, because if any little bits stay in there, they are going to get pretty crispy smoky.
I don't think it's possible to get
Oh, those
all
tiny
of
bits
it.
are fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we do the same with the potatoes. This will definitely only need 2 batches because there's less potato than there was cauliflower. So half of the bowl goes in the oil. Roughly, don't need to be too. I do find the potatoes are in general a lot less spitty than the cauliflower. I don't know why.
I feel confident enough to take this off.
Yeah, I think it was only really initial contact with the pan where things got heated, literally. And then we're kind of looking for the same with these. You want them to just be going golden brown. And then they too can come out of the pan. I mean, this is quite a luxury for me because I don't feel like fry that much. I don't eat a ton of fried food. So there's something quite decadent feeling about crispy fried food.
Definitely. I think we fry a fair bit actually.
Yeah?
With tofu.
Yeah.
You know, put a nice marinade on it, maybe a bit of flour, give it a crispy coating.
Yes. Do you do much proper deep frying?
No.
I find that that's quite intimidating, I find, at home.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we don't have a door on our kitchen.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that I've wanted to try.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who she's like a very adventurous vegan cook. And it's a shame, she's moved away from Berlin now, but she really wanted to try making a kind of vegan equivalent to fish and chips, but it would stink up the house.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
would love to try it, but again,
Yeah,
we don't have a door.
that is an issue.
We have a front door. Our other rooms
Should
have
make it
doors.
clear, there are doors in the place, just not where you really need it, i.e. kitchen.
I think the bathroom is the most important one.
Oh, that's true. All right, I think those are looking good. Just starting to get golden. They are going to be cooking later in the tomato sauce, so it's definitely not, we're not trying to cook them through at this point.
And are they all going to get tossed in together? Like, I
Yes.
don't need to keep these things separate.
No,
to
they
each
can
other.
all, the chilies we're going to need before everything else, so don't bury the chilies.
Don't bury the chili.
But as long as they're grabbable, the cauliflower and the potatoes are going to go back in at the same time. So
Grabbable.
grabbable. I
That's
think I
a
say
good
that
word.
quite a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, ever since doing the show.
Grabbable.
All right, and then we can toss all the rest of the potatoes in.
It's one of those words that'd be fun just to read. Because I would immediately in my head have grabable.
Grabable. Grabable.
Oh, grabable.
I'd have gone for grabable.
Grabable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably misread grabbable. It's like, what is it? Stomachache?
Oh yeah.
Stomachache.
Stomacache. I can't even think of how I would say it, but it would be something like that.
But no stomach aches here.
Well, depends how your tolerance of fried food is.
Oh yeah.
The word that really tripped me up the first time I ever read it was albeit.
Oh yeah. Were you in the albite?
I was firmly in the
Crew.
albeit camp, and I obviously knew the spoken word albeit, and I knew the written word albite. And the day when I was like, oh, so albite basically means the same as albeit. The penny dropping could have been heard a mile away, I think.
I think Wouter thought it was albite as well. But he's not a native English speaker.
No. All right, I see what you're saying. You know, we all have one of those, right?
It is true. I definitely have them. I just can't think off the top of my head.
Yeah, right. Just don't want to. You don't want to share on YouTube. That's what's happening here.
I'll blurt it out when you least
Please
expect
do.
it. Whenever I remember.
Blurt out your wrong pronunciation of it and leave us all baffled as to what on earth you're talking about. Beautiful. I'm loving your technique. It's like scoop and roll.
Thanks so much. I made it up just now.
We do the scoop and roll. It's like the shaking back. Oh
no.
Oh, she rolled.
Bring
too
the
far.
freshness
There you
back.
go. And burn yourself in the process. I love that you remember the shaken back. That's pleased me.
I don't think I've ever used. Oh no, I have used it.
Have you?
I think it was like a student thing.
Mm.
Parties, carpets. You know how that goes.
I love that someone was responsible enough to get the shaken back out though.
I think we went and bought it specifically.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was very necessary.
All right. I think those are looking good. They're golden. Out they come. I would love to say now your arm's going to get a break, but I feel like this dish is nothing but stirring.
Oh my god.
Definitely
Maybe I
less
can
intensive stirring now.
Try out my right hand.
See, it's a good job I didn't double the recipe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Listen to that induction sound, that's so cool. Super! Right. At this point, we are going in with our cumin seeds. About half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, really however much you like cumin, but that looks good to me. Into the hot oil. And we're going to mix the oil around so that all the seeds get coated. And we're going to let them sizzle for just a moment. almost feel like we could go up to 7 now, but I don't want to risk it.
By it, you mean my safety?
Yes. Don't want to risk our safety. So they can sit in the oil really, and then when they start to make a little spluttering, we're going to be chucking in the onion. So kind of make sure you have that to hand. Is it really oily down there? Oh no. We're laying down a towel to stand on.
I feel like if you were just wearing socks, you maybe wouldn't slip in the oil because it would just soak up.
Oh yeah, that's true. You just have burning feet instead.
Yeah. Taylor,
Whichever you prefer.
watch out.
Okay, we're not getting much of a splutter on these.
Do you want to crank it up to 7?
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Yeah, crank it up to 7 if you can reach it with all the oil. Woo! Exciting.
But this is I really love this induction plate because you can tell the difference very quickly between the numbers.
Yeah, we've already got more bubbles happening around the seeds. That's good. Yes, that's better. All right, let's leave those to sit for a moment. Oh yeah, I can smell them. Okay, that's good. I think the smell is a good sign. And there was a little splatter, got lots of nice bubbles. So I think we're good to go in with the onion at this point. Chuck it in.
Whoa.
There's that 7. You can really feel that 7. Mix that around.
I feel potential for sticking.
I know, me too. The onions tend to be fine actually. I find that even the times I've had really bad spitting cauliflower, the onion's not spat so much, she says. We can go back down to 6.
We're going to go back down to 6.
What we really want is a 6.5.
We do.
That's what we need. So we're only going to cook these for a couple of minutes until they just start to go brown at the edges. After that, we are going to be adding in the garlic and ginger. So just so you know what the next stage will be.
It smells so good.
It does smell good. And I think this is plenty of oil. 6 tablespoons would have been a lot.
I feel that I always use too much oil, so were you not here, I would probably
Yeah,
be
I've
like
gone
a
for
vat.
more.
Yeah.
Interesting. I always err on the side of less for some reason. I'm willing to be proven wrong.
No, but this is good. This is good.
This looks perfect actually.
So much about this is great for me.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about anything.
Apart from 3rd-degree burns. I'd say we want to get a little more colour on those before the garlic and ginger goes in. What's going to be going in with the garlic and ginger as well is the turmeric. So just make sure we have that to hand too.
And I think I'd like to have my beer
Would you
to
like your
hand.
beer? How dare she?
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
wish. That can be giving the other hand a workout at the same time.
Just to even things out. You know?
Okay, while we're waiting for those to colour just a little bit more, we're also going to be needing access to salt and sugar quite soon. So we
For which you'll need a special password.
I know we have the salt to hand, but I didn't tell you to get sugar. Is it high up above? Sugar. Oh no, perfect. All right, I think those onions are looking good. They're just starting to brown, which is exactly what we want. Ooh,
If your handle is
there.
metal,
Oh.
don't put it on
Oh.
the hot pan.
I really am feeling like we could go up to 7. Would you hate me?
Not hate. Hate is a very strong word.
Thank you.
Oh no!
Oh! We almost got stuck on 8. All right, we're going to go in with the garlic ginger mix. Probably use the same implement, yeah. Oh, beautiful. And,
Oh my goodness, it smells so good.
yes, a 1/4 teaspoon of the turmeric.
Is that turmeric?
Mm-hmm, that's the turmeric.
More?
That's good. No, I'd say that's perfect. And then you want to give that all a stir around.
I love turmeric, I have to say, because it's a good natural anti-inflammatory as well.
It is. You've been making a lot of, what are they called? Golden milks?
Yeah, I don't like to call it that because it sounds gross. And also mine's not super milky at the moment. I started off making it with a big kind of oat milk basis, but now I'm making it with water and a splash of milk.
Okay,
And it's really
nice.
good.
I would definitely like the recipe for that. Perfect. All right, so that's about as much cooking as we need on those already. At this point, we're going to add back in the dried chilies that I asked you not to bury. And we're going to add in our tomatoes, 225 grams of tomatoes. We're going to break these up once they get in the pan because we're using plum tomatoes. Now be careful because this is liquid. But that is good, that is the kind of heat we want. She says, as not the one that's standing right next to her.
Oh yeah, this isn't hard.
So yes, use an implement if you've got plum tomatoes just to break those up a bit. But they are going to cook down so you don't have to worry too much if they're a little hard to break. Beautiful. Okay, and into there we're going to now add some spices and some seasonings before it all reduces down. So we are going to put in 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt, which is an annoying measurement really, but just under a teaspoon of salt. You can eyeball it really. What was it, 7 you said was a... Yeah. Sure, we can add more later if need be. And a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. Beautiful. A 1/4 teaspoon of our garam masala. I'd do a little less than that. Ooh, that's fine, yeah. And a 1/2 teaspoon, about what you were going to do originally, of ground coriander. Yeah. Oh yeah, you have many different openings to choose from. All of them kind of annoying because you really just want to be able to get your spoon in there.
Oh wait, because you can aha.
Very excited by this.
1/2 teaspoon, you say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Give it all a real good stir. Beautiful. And we're basically going to be cooking this right down I feel like our tomatoes weren't actually overly juicy in the end, so we don't have quite as much juice in there as I was expecting, but we're still going to be cooking it down until we're going to start to see the oil and this mix is now known as the masala. The oil and the masala are going to start to separate a little bit more, like you'll see the oil being released from the masala mixture. That's when we know it's ready. We don't have to stir it the whole time, so you can have a little break.
I'm an over stirrer. I really am. I don't mind admitting it.
Well, I'm going to force you to have a little break so we can kind of have a sip of beer, very important, and maybe get our space just a little bit decluttered so that we are... I'm trying to say I haven't given you a moment to put anything away, and now might be the time. Oh, smells. Such good smell.
Oh, it smells.
So we do want to stir it occasionally.
Such mixed messages.
I know,
Grace.
I'm so sorry.
Don't declutter too much.
Lovely. Looking beautiful.
It does look really good. It smells amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And as you declutter, something we also want to get ready is some water. We're going to be adding 350 mils of water to that in the not too distant future. So you might want to get that out and ready. Beautiful. So yeah, you can see it's sort of leaving behind oil that is separated. And that is telling us really that that's basically where we want it to be already, which is perfect. So at this point, we add back in all of our veg. Toss it in. And we're going to mix that together really well. So getting it all coated in the masala. Oh yeah, definitely time for that technique to come back into play. Beautiful. And if you see how dry it is now, that's kind of the level of dryness we're actually going for at the end. So all this water that we're about to add in, that's going to reduce way down. Perfect. I would say once all your veggies are coated so that there are no longer any white bits, then we're going to turn the heat down finally. We're coming off this stressful high heat down to a medium low. Which for us is going to be a 3. Is that right?
I've put it on a 3.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's correct. And so we really do want to wait for it to reach that temperature, which ours is doing very quickly because this hob is amazing. Because if you add the water in when it's still super hot, it's all just going to evaporate, which we don't want. But that's already sounding like we're there. So now let's chuck in our 350 mils of water. I'm just going to check that it is 350 because I was holding it in the air. It's 400. And now it's 300. God, it's like that 6.5 that we needed. You just can't. Yeah, it's 350. Can't get what we need. All 350. All 350 straight into the pan.
Gorgeous. So we want to try and submerge particularly our potatoes, because they're the ones that are the peskiest when it comes to cooking. And we want to bring it to a low simmer. So I don't know whether that will involve turning it up initially just to get it there and then turning it back down. It may well do. If you have a gas hob, that may well be what you want to do as well. Beautiful. So we're just going to wait for that to get simmering, and that's only going to need about 10 minutes once it's simmering because our potato pieces are so small. And the peas and the chili we add in just before the end. So once the veg is almost ready, that's when they go in. So now is the time to relax after the stressful frying experience. Get things a little organized, and then we're going to roll out our chapati dough.
Do we need a floured surface for that?
We will put down a little sprinkling of flour, yeah. And I didn't tell you that all-purpose flour is better for that if we have it. White flour.
We do.
Perfect. I will have told people at home by the magic of video editing. But if you don't have it for whatever reason, we can use the whole wheat. That's not a disaster. I don't know why whole wheat's not as good for that. I suppose there's too many flaky, fibery bits in it.
Anything for measuring liquid?
No. I think I just saw you putting the knife away, and we will want that to chop up the coriander.
Well, we'll have to use something else. The knife is gone.
But I don't think we need any other of that stuff. And our sauce has started bubbling, which is perfect.
All-purpose flour. It's gonna require getting on the chair.
Oh, is it one of the high up ones?
It is.
Very nice colour. So interestingly, look, this is on 6 now.
Yeah.
And I feel like suddenly that's behaving as though that's medium-low, which is baffling, but... Oh!
Yeah, it needs to be off the buttons.
Right, so you're going to want to clear a nice space on your work surface. And we'll retrieve our dough.
Oh yeah.
So obviously we're not expecting any increase in size as you would from yeasted bread or whatever, but you can feel the heat that the dough kind of creates that gets trapped in there. And it's got a nice spring, a slow spring, let's say. It's a slow spring.
It's Friday.
It's Friday, it's chilled, it's all good. Yeah, so we will take out our dough.
Do I want to put the flour down first? Or?
I was going to tell you to do that afterwards, but you can do that already if you like.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's fine if it's a little bit stuck to the bottom. Gather it up with your fingertips and it should still come together. And yeah, we'll sprinkle a little bit of flour on the surface now. Oh right, I see, you need both hands. That's why. Apologies.
No worries.
Lovely. Some recipes I found say to give this another quick knead on your floured surface before you start working with it. if you'd like to do that, you can go right ahead. If you've got a particularly sticky dough, then that might be helpful for you. I think ours is looking pretty nice. So I reckon that's all it needs. It doesn't need too much. And now we're going to split it into lots of little balls. I would say the recipe says this should make about 10 to 12. So if you do sort of a rough halving and then a rough halving again, so each of those should render about 5. I guess the halving, doesn't make sense.
I'll go for 12.
We'll go for 12, yeah. It's also totally up to you and the size of your pan, largely, as to how big you want your chapatis to be. You could make really large, kind of almost Turkish wrap style ones, or you could make smaller ones. I think the size pan that we're using, small, they'd be on the smaller side, yeah.
Yep.
So we can see how that's looking when we roll them out. This is bubbling away nicely. Its bubbling seems to be confined to one end.
It might not just be fully on
right,
the thing. But yeah, it's true. So give it a wee swirl.
I'm sure let's give it a little stir. Basically, when you stir it, as long as you make sure afterwards that the potato pieces are submerged again. Such a good colour. Beautiful. Very nice. So we'll probably work with these for now, because
just the 3.
Yeah, the 6. Because at this point it depends how many you're cooking for. You're probably going to want to keep some dough, which can be kept in the fridge. Just make sure you bring it back to room temperature before you start this stage of rolling out. So this will probably be plenty for our purposes, I would say. You want about 2 per person. As a rough guide. So you take your little ball, probably move the ones that we're not working with kind of to the side, because we're going to be rolling out there. And you want to start by just squishing it down with the palm of your hand to make a little flat bit. Your hob's making beeps. What's that about?
Just wants attention.
It does just want attention. And then we want to get a rolling pin if you have one. If you don't, then a wine bottle would also be fine. The classic rolling pin for these is very thin and often no handles. People just kind of use their hand weight. The only really important
you can
thing...
use like one of these, pestle or a mortar.
True.
You decide.
Pestle? But I think either way, it's because it's not the completely same thickness all along and a bit too heavy. Because mainly you don't want to put too much pressure on this. You want to work quite lightly and try and apply as even amount of pressure as possible.
Okay.
And we're rolling it out.
Do I want to flour this or anything? Or is it
See how it, I think because of the amount of flour we've got on it, it should be fine. But just, you can check if it's sticking, then
am I going for a circle?
And then you want to go for circles, yeah. And you sort of just gently ease it out. That's very beautiful actually. It's quite hypnotic watching people do this in the traditional way, because there's a certain technique to rolling where the chapati kind of turns itself as you go.
It is quite moving.
Fun to it is moving actually.
Moving it.
I mean, you are turning your rolling pin round. It's very beautifully done. So yeah, the size is really, size doesn't matter.
It really doesn't.
No, but what you do want is even thickness. You don't want really thin edges and thick middles. That looks beautiful, Georgia, I have to say.
Thank you so much. I wish you were always here when I was cooking. Actually, no, because usually it doesn't turn out as well.
So let's see what thickness we've got here. No, I think actually that's nice. That's kind of how I like mine.
Okay.
So it's about the millimeter in thickness. What we do want to do is make sure that all the flour is off. So you want to pick it up with one hand and then kind of toss it back and forth between your palms, really. Just that's it. Just to get rid of any excess flour. And then we can kind of just sort of stack those next to us on a non-floured whoop. It's like dropping the cauliflower back in the oil. You'd have to do it all over again. Yeah, and then weiter so, basically. I think it's a very good technique you've got there. Check back on our curry, which is bubbling very nicely now. But yeah, we're going for a much drier texture than that, although you can absolutely make a version of this that is wetter. I think when I do it with rice, I prefer a wetter curry, but when it's with breads, I like something that you can, if you want to, sort of wrap up in the bread and have a bit of a drier texture. You could definitely top this with some kind of yogurt or vegan yogurt alternative topping. I'm sure that would be very nice.
This one is more square than the
It has
circular.
gone a little square.
It's like a face.
Oh yeah. Or one of those ghosts.
Oh yeah.
I think the thickness is still perfect though. I think for the purposes of the video, we will make 4. And then if we want to come back and make the other 2 afterwards, we can do that.
Are these not going to stick together if I stack them?
I couldn't know. Let's give it a go and then we can tell people if it's too late for them to change that. There is something very satisfying about working with bread, working with your hands, and creating something so kind of basic to our diet and life. That said, I don't do it very often at all.
I think also, like, I don't use a rolling pin very often, but I feel like my childhood training really kind of overemphasized how much I would be rolling things.
Oh yeah, home economics and all that. It's
Yeah. And nursery and, you know, baking with family members and everything. There was a lot of rolling, but maybe it was just like, that's something you can do.
well, yeah, exactly. I think as a
small person,
a family activity. But it does also then mean that when you do it as an adult, there's something quite nostalgic feeling about using a rolling pin. Beautiful. Hope these bigger ones are going to fit in your pan.
Good point.
So we will do one more. And then we will start heating the pan up. I'm going to give this a stir.
Thank you so much. And those of you at home, you can get the other person who's obviously there.
Yeah, to the next room.
This one is also like a face.
How strange.
I like it.
Oh yeah. Such a good technique. Beautiful. So we now want a pan for cooking these.
Here is a pan for cooking these.
This nice oil-free spot that the plate has saved for you.
What kind of temperature would we like?
We want a good hot temperature, medium high again, I would
7.
say. I think 7. There's nothing that can spit this time.
Oh,
Oh, the hobbit's freaking out because of all the oil.
I think so.
No. We might have to wipe down our hob top. It's going to be nice and shiny, that's for sure.
I might need to properly clean it. So with anybody else at home who's cooking with an induction will know how temperamental and fussy they can be.
If there's any kind of foreign body on it. Well, it makes up for it by being a damn good hob. Do we need to give it a moment to dry?
I think I need to wash my hands maybe.
And we're back! As if by magic, the hob is now working again. It did take us quite a while to fix that.
It did.
Induction hobs might not like oil splatter. This is what we've maybe learned. So, seamlessly, the pan for the chapatis. We are going to be heating it on this little hob that is now working.
Oil-free.
Oil-free, medium-high, edging towards higher than medium, if that makes sense.
Medium-high.
That's exactly it.
Rather than medium-high.
Yes, that's very good. I'm just thinking about what's left to go in. The peas and the chilies. The peas and the chilies go in together when the veg is pretty much there. I took the opportunity of the break to try a little potato piece, and it's not quite at the point where we want to be adding those.
Okay.
But I think by the time we've got the chapatis done, it'll be perfect. I also think we didn't add quite enough salt. Remember when we needed to add like 3/4 teaspoon and we were grinding it in? I don't think there's quite enough. So I would suggest adding a little bit more salt to ours. But you guys at home, I mean, obviously taste as you go. Yours might not need extra. Lovely.
More?
I think that should be okay. It's still got to reduce down a fair bit, and that obviously intensifies the saltiness, so I reckon that will be just fine. Very nice. This pan is heating nicely. This is a lovely cast iron skillet you've got. Ooh, where did you get this?
I think this is actually an eBay Kleinanzeigen.
Oh, really?
Number, yeah. You can get really great cookware on the eBay Small Ads.
Huh, that is really good to know. I've never thought of keeping an eye out for that.
Yeah, so I think at least one of these is secondhand.
Nice. Yeah, you're showing off with your 2 Le Creuset pots. I mean, come on now. I don't even have one.
Actually, like, yeah, all of these 3 pans are all secondhand. They're really good stuff as well. They're the WMF.
Yeah.
They're all secondhand from eBay.
Oh, I am going to be using that.
Most of them you have to go and pick up, and sometimes you
Yes.
have to go to Rudo or Spandau,
Yeah,
but worth it.
I'm happy to make that extra journey for good cookware. How are we feeling about our pan? Yeah, not quite there yet.
On its way.
It's on its way.
In the post.
We could use this time to deflour.
Deflour.
Oh, coriander, yes. Let's chop our coriander. That's a good plan. So, it's a bit wilty now, isn't it?
It is, but it's been a time.
It's been through a lot.
Oh gosh. How much of this? And only the leaves?
The leaves and the less thick stalk, I would say, is fine. I'm never too fussy about coriander stalk. It's got a good flavour. We want about 2 tablespoons in total. Quite finely chopped, I would say. I'm going to use this opportunity to help with cleanup slightly. With a lot of oil. It's good though, you know, the wood around your kitchen, it likes some oil now and again.
This is the truth.
So I'm going to suggest we try another potato piece quickly, if I can interrupt you.
Go for a bigger one.
I think we can already tell they're still a bit too hard.
Oops.
So hard you can't even get it on your fork.
Cannot.
Probably don't need to try that. I think it's probably quite clear from the...
I'm so hungry.
Okay.
It's hard.
It's hard,
Well.
as we expected.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just make sure that they are submerged again. You can always add a little bit more liquid if it's getting too dry before the veggies are cooked, but I think ours will be plenty.
Chopping coriander.
Chopping our coriander, very nice. Such a good smell, fresh coriander. What is ground coriander then? Because they're like seeds, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
The
So
dry
we've got
stuff.
some seeds in here.
I'm just
So it'll
trying
be
to
the
understand
seeds
the kind of the plant.
Ground up, maybe.
Like, does coriander flower, and are these
It
the
does,
seeds?
I think.
Okay. Right, our pan is feeling pretty good now, I would say.
Ready for a chapati?
I think it might be ready for a chapati.
And it's a dry frying situation.
It is a dry fry situation. If the pan is good and hot, this should go quite fast. So we'll see. Fits perfectly.
Looks like a face.
Oh, it is like a face. We do need to give it some eyes. So you're just going to watch as little bubbles should appear. And it starts changing colour slightly. And we want to make sure we have a spatula ready to flip it over. So I tend to leave it on this side for about 20 to 30 seconds. This probably is going to be more of a 30-seconder.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the bubbles are starting. And yeah, you might want to get a plate at the ready for stacking them on. So we could have a peek underneath and see if there are brown patches forming, because that's kind of what we want to be happening. Yes, so we can definitely flip that over. Lovely, and you'll see it starts to puff up, which is quite fun. When you get the technique really down, it's supposed to really puff up like a ball, which I have never had happen to mine so far. But you can like be pushing this down with your spatula as it puffs to help it along with the cook. And then at this point is when I'm like, if I definitely really want a soft bread,
Mm-hmm.
I keep it in there for less time, even though I'm sure that it's supposed to be to do with the actual dough and not the amount of time you cook it. But at this point I would flip it again and just check that the bottom isn't burning. Nice, it's looking really nice. Yeah, and then I would say that's not far off being done, in fact. You can probably remove that from the pan.
Our face now has eyes and a
does.
nose and a cheeks.
It's quite bulbous. Yeah, and let's see. Oh, that's come out soft. Yay! It is not a crisp bread. Well, not yet. Sometimes when they cool, they can start going crispy, but we can go straight in with the next one. And just do the same dance all over again. There are some places that suggest rubbing it at this point with a little bit of oil if you really want to keep it soft.
What kind of oil?
I guess I would use olive for this because it's not cooking oil, you're just kind of wanting to keep it supple. And you could even just put a little drizzle on and use your hands. I mean, it's not like there's a global pandemic on at the moment or anything. Whoops. Lovely.
This is smoking a bit.
Shall I give it a stir on the bottom? Check what's going on. That's looking great. I think this is the point when we can add the peas and the chilies into our curry. I have 150 grams of peas. And just toss them in. And our broken up chilies. And I'm going to interrupt you to flip our chapati over briefly. Nice.
I don't think this oiling has worked.
Oh, the oiling didn't work. It was an experiment. Looks nice, glossy.
Mm.
And now you have nice oily hands. Yeah, so we'll stir through the peas. I love how immediately vibrant the dish becomes with that addition.
Mm-hmm.
And our chapati is probably about ready to come off the heat at this point.
Bit more time on this side, no?
Maybe, yeah. I never really know how to tell. At the end of the day, as long as the flour's cooked, then it's all good, huh? I'm going to try just a teeny bit of the edge of this one. Yeah, that's great. So our curry, I would say, is getting to the point where I will just try a potato again. Yeah, the potato's tender, not mushy. And at this point, I would turn the heat off.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Chapati disaster.
Chapati disaster. This one's going to be... I'm not sure what that looks like really. Well, we're saving the best to last, our perfectly round one. I'm going to suggest we take the heat off the curry now. I think it's time for it to sit and mingle while we finish the chapatis. If we have a lid, we could put a lid on it. If we don't, or if you don't at home, it's absolutely fine. It's just, sure. For our purposes, it might be nice to keep it warm and have just the last bit of cook on the vegetables happen from residual heat. I think that's quite a good idea.
Oh, did you use this for the...
I absolutely did, yeah. Nice, perfect. Don't even need it, just straight in with the hands. Ooh, what's whistling? Is that bread?
I think it is.
Wow.
No. Might be a potato.
Might be the hob. I feel I've angered the hob. If you weren't super careful with getting flour off your chapatis, which Georgia was, bravo, I am usually bad at that, and the flour can start smoking quite a lot on the bottom of the pan, just so you're not alarmed if that is happening. But it is better if the flour's off. That's probably looking good. Beautiful. We could
It's like a kite.
Or a stingray.
Oh,
I just thought when you turned it over and I
stingray.
saw its eyes, I was like, yeah, that's a stingray. We could start getting a bowl ready for plating up. Like one example dish. This is probably good to come off the flame. Our last chapati.
Oh no.
No. Beautiful. Yeah, so presentation wise, I think either of those are good actually. I quite like the
This is something was in there.
oh,
before.
okay, yeah. This kind of thing with a rim is nice. And we can plate up a dish already. So you want to be wary of those big dried chilies. You can either pick them out or tell your guests to watch out for them. And you just want a nice serving that gets all the bits. Beautiful. Gorgeous. And then you can sprinkle it with our chopped coriander. Very nice. And our final chapati here is looking about ready for a flip, I would say. Nice. And then we cover it with a lid. Beautiful. Well, I'm very hungry. You're very hungry.
It's true.
Wouter's very hungry.
So
We've kept him waiting much longer than we intended to. So yeah, we are going to tap out at this point, sit down and enjoy this food. I hope yours comes out extremely delicious. Oh, the gimbal has also decided to give up at this point. Let me know how it turns out. Share any pictures of your resulting dish. Guten Appetit, everybody. And I'll see you next week for another dish. Thanks so much, Georgia, for cooking. Bye.
You're very welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.